On the morning of November 1st, 1980, a truck driver traveling through the Sam Houston National Forest just outside Huntsville, Texas, stumbled on the body of a young girl. She was naked except for a necklace, and the things that had been done to her were awful. Even worse, it would be over 4 decades before this murder victim was even identified. Let's talk about the girl formerly known as the Walker County Jane Doe. Further examination revealed the girl was between 14 and 18 years old, about 5 feet 6 inches tall and 110 pounds, with light brown hair and hazel eyes. She had been dead for about 6 hours by the time she was found and had been sexually assaulted with an object either right before or right after her death. Her official cause of death was strangulation. She had been strangled with a pair of pantyhose, probably one found near her body. After news of the discovery of the girl's body came out, several witnesses came forward to say they'd seen a girl the day before who matched her description. One witness said they'd seen her at a gas station around 6:30 the night before, where she'd asked for directions to the Ellis Prison Unit, a men's prison on the outskirts of Huntsville. She'd been wearing jeans and a yellow sweater and carrying high-heeled sandals that matched the description of a pair found near Jane Doe's body. The second reported sighting was at a truck stop, where a waitress said the girl had again asked for directions to this prison. According to the waitress, she asked the girl if their parents knew where she was, to which the girl replied, "Who cares?" This girl also told the waitress she was from Rockport, about 250 miles south of Huntsville. But when investigators showed Jane Doe's photo to employees and inmates at the prison, none of them recognized her. Nobody in Rockport or nearby Aransas Pass, the area Jane Doe said she was from, knew who she was either. There were no missing persons reports found that matched her description. On January 16th, 1981, the Walker County Jane Doe was buried in Oakwood Cemetery in Huntsville. She was exhumed in 1999 for DNA testing, but no matches were found. Her necklace was eventually lost. It's not clear what happened to it, but every picture you'll see of it here is a recreation. The case was closed at some point, then reopened in 2015. That same year, a new reconstruction of Jane Doe's face was done by the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Her sandals were sent for forensic testing. In July of 2020, the Houston-based forensic testing company Othram offered to work on the case. I talked about Othram a little bit in my video on Breonna Maitland, whose case they are currently working on. With the Walker County Doe, they seem to have their work cut out for them. There wasn't much genetic material left in her remains. Most of it had decayed over time or been stripped away due to previous testing. After a few weeks, they determined they couldn't get any DNA from her skeletal remains, but they did have one more option: her brain. A piece of Jane Doe's brain tissue had been preserved in formaldehyde all these years. The formaldehyde had damaged the tissue, but Othram scientists were still able to get a bit of DNA from it. From here, they compared the DNA sample to thousands of others from DNA and genealogy databases. By March 2021, they narrowed their search down to 6 of Jane Doe's relatives. Finally, they had only one match, which was confirmed via the DNA of one of her relatives in late September of that year. In November of 2021, 41 years after her body had been found, it was publicly announced that the Walker County Jane Doe had been identified as Sherri Jarvis. Sherri Ann Jarvis was born on March 9th, 1966, to Mom Carrie and Dad Don. She had at least one brother and one sister. Sherri grew up in Stillwater, Minnesota, quite a distance away from Huntsville, where she ultimately ended up. When she was in 8th grade, she was taken from her home due to habitual truancy and became a ward of the state. In March of 1980, a now 14-year-old Sherri was set to appear in court for a detention hearing, but chose to run away instead. She initially left with a pair of sisters, but the group ultimately split up and Sherri went her own way. In August of that year, Sherri's mom got a letter from her postmarked from Denver. In the letter, Sherri claimed she'd contact her family sometime between her 18th and 21st birthday, but that time frame came and went, and there was no word from her. Her family hired a private investigator to find her, but they were unsuccessful. Her parents kept the same phone number for decades in the hope she might call, but of course, she never did. Sadly, her dad died in 2018 and her mom in 2019. Neither of them ever found out what happened to their daughter. Interestingly, it turns out there was a missing persons report filed on Sherri by the agency that had custody of her. Their records have since been purged, and it's not clear why that report was never matched with the Walker County Doe's description. So now we know who she was, but what happened to her? Over the years, there has been a lot of speculation about what happened to Sherri Jarvis, most of it before she was identified. But I do want to talk about some of the speculation that's relevant to this still unsolved murder. One point of speculation is why Sherri told people she was from the Rockport or Ranzau's Pass area when she clearly wasn't. Some people believe she spent time there before she arrived in Huntsville, possibly feeling like she had some sort of connection to the area. Because she seemed to be drifting quite a bit after she ran away, this is certainly possible. Another thing people discuss is why Sherri was traveling to a prison where she seemingly didn't know anyone. There's been a lot of speculation that she was going to visit a prisoner who denied knowing her because they were in a sexual relationship and he didn't want to be charged with statutory rape. I've also seen people suggest she was part of some sort of escape plan, or she had a prison pen pal who didn't recognize her because they never exchanged photos. But who actually killed Sherri? There hasn't been too much talk of this from what I could find, but I have seen speculation that she was killed by a trucker or a serial killer. The name Henry Lee Lucas has come up, although from what I understand, he's given a lot of dubious murder confessions. Police are currently looking into her case and as of mid-November 2021 seem to have some positive leads. If you have any information about the murder of Sherri Jarvis, you can contact the Walker County Sheriff's Office at 936-435-2400. It's been really exciting to see so many does being identified over the past couple of years. Hopefully these IDs will lead to solved cases at some point down the road. If you found this video interesting or informative, I would love it if you would like and share it. For more true crime videos and other general dark content, I hope you'll consider subscribing and hitting that bell. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.